Hi and welcome to another episode of Toby's Barbecue Corner. Today we're going to be making a taste test of 2 rubs on the same St. Louis style cut pork ribs. Now what you need for it and how to do it, I'm going to show you in this episode. And this is already all we need for today. Now obviously we need some St. Louis style cut pork ribs, and these are lovely. They are roughly the same size, so about 1.2 kgs, give or take a couple of grams here or there. We need some apple juice and some mustard to keep the same base. And then we will have 2 different types of rub. Now one is Trader Joe coffee and garlic rub, and one is coffee cannonball from Ankerkraut. Now let's see which one works best with our pork ribs. The most important thing is they will go on my Traeger Pro 22. They will be treated exactly the same way. So we will smoke them for 2 hours. We will, we will braise them for quite a while. We will baste them later on with a little bit of barbecue sauce, which I don't have in the picture, but you can use any barbecue sauce you want. And then we will see which one flavor profile wise comes out best. Now in the first step, what we're going to do is we're going to square them off a little bit and trim them. Not a whole lot though, you know, because I don't want to lose too much meat, but this would just burn off basically. And then we'll have a quick look on the other side. Take that off here. That's not particularly pretty. And then, as per usual, and I really do recommend that you do that every single time, is you want to take the silver skin off. So in the back, go right on top of the bone with a little spoon. Just makes it a little bit easier. And then you can actually loosen that up with your finger as well. But I'm sure you've seen that plenty of times in my videos. So nothing new there. Right, silver skin removed, all cleaned up. So here we go. As I said, we're going to treat them exactly the same way, both of them. So the same mustard goes on. You can use any mustard you want. You can use vegetable oil. You can use, pretty much anything you want as a binder for the rub to stick. Now what you don't want to use necessarily is olive oil, simply because olive oil has a lower burning point, so to speak. So it can't sustain heat as good as, for example, vegetable oil. So I wouldn't use olive oil. And the nice thing about mustard, it actually has some antibacterial functions as well. So if you were to prepare this a little ahead and put it back in the fridge, you shouldn't really have to worry about any kind of bacteria growing. Anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the coffee cannonball rub on this particular one. It's kind of a bit more square, and I might put like a toothpick in it just to make sure that I remember which one was which. I'm actually quite curious how that comes out, you know, because obviously coffee can be quite a strong flavor. And then also the difference in taste and texture, because obviously Trader Joe's is from the US, whereas Ankerkraut is from Germany. So let's see if there is a certain level of taste difference. But I'm sure both of them will taste fantastic later on. All right, I'm going to finish this up on both sides, and then I'll show you what to do next. All seasoned up, and right from the get-go I can tell you that the coffee cannonball seems to be a lot darker in color. I don't know if it comes out in the video, but I can definitely tell from standing here, this already looks a lot darker as the rub, whereas this one feels and looks a bit lighter. Also, the coffee grounds are a bit more coarse on this one, whereas they are a bit finer on this one, which is it's quite odd to see that. And obviously, if you don't do a comparison, you would never know. But it is quite interesting. So we'll see how that turns out. Anyways, I'm going to heat up the smoker, and I'll see you outside. The trigger is coming up to temperature, and we're going to be smoking with hickory pellets today. I think they just give a lovely flavor, and obviously we don't need all this that's in the hopper, but you know, better be safe than sorry, because we will be out here for a couple of hours. The temperature is around the freezing point, so the Traeger will be using up a little more than we're used to. Right, the Traeger is producing some nice smoke. We're going to cook at 107 degrees for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the Ankerkraut ribs in the back, and then the Trader Joe's in the front, and we're going to smoke them for 2 hours. The first 2 hours are up, and they got some good color already, good temperature. It never went above the 107 that I had set it to. Now what we're going to do is we're going to separate them, again keeping them in the same procedure, so to speak. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some pure apple juice, and we're just going to pour it in on the bottom. Again, trying to be as equal as possible. And then they're going to go back on the smoker. We're going to crank up the heat because we really want to, you know, get that steam going. This one is the coffee cannonball from Ankerkraut. This one is the one from Trader Joe's. Color-wise, I'd say they look pretty similar. This one might be a bit darker, so there might be a bit more sugar in this than this one. And now we're just going to take some aluminum foil, loosely wrap it around, but make sure that this is a good tight seal all the way around. And ideally as little touching as possible, because obviously we want to preserve the bark as best as we can. So let's give that a shot. Create some space. I think that should do it. Again, make the seal nice and tight so we don't lose any of the heat coming out, especially in these cold temperatures. An absolute must. Right, the ribs are in. I had to work with an elevation because the pans are too big, but this is the coffee cannonball, this is the Trader Joe's, so we're going to leave that closed. I've cranked up the heat to 135, and we're going to let that you know, braise for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then we'll see. So we're not really doing the 3-2-1 method. It's more like a 2-2-1, 2-3-1, depending on how it goes. Right guys, here we go, another 2.5 hours later, so a total of 4.5 hours. This is the coffee cannonball. This is the Trader Joe's coffee and garlic rub. They're both super soft. I mean, look at how they move, very nicely done, but they still are nice and tight, so they're not falling apart. The bones are starting to show a little bit. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to give them a little bit of a basting with some good old barbecue sauce. As I said, you can use any barbecue sauce you want. And then it's going to go back on the smoker for about an hour to give them that final touch. They do look amazing. They smell really good. They have cooked pretty similarly, which I'm very happy with. So that's great. Yeah. So let's see how that turns out taste-wise later on. Exactly 5.5 hours later, we're done. So, coffee cannonball versus Trader Joe's coffee and garlic rub. Let's see what happens. Now, if you wonder why this is so wet, what I've done is I've actually used the juices that dropped out of the ribs into the apple juice that we had in the pan. Reduce it down a little bit and just re-moisturized our meat, and I mean, it's nice and sticky. The bones have to a certain extent come off already, or are showing already. It is super elastic. So let's cut into it, and look how easily that separates. Isn't that fantastic? So they're definitely done. So let's do another cut. I don't even need to cut it anymore. I can just take it out. And let me show you really quickly, guys. I mean, isn't that juicy? Isn't that lovely? Has a little bit of a smoke ring. And the other one as well. Have to be careful not to, for it to fall apart. So we're going to give it a quick taste test. So this is the coffee cannonball. Very nice, quite subtle. It's actually not bitter, which I was afraid of, because coffee obviously can make it bitter. Trader Joe's, a little bit sweeter. You can taste definitely the garlic in there. Both really nice, but if I were to say, I think I would go with Trader Joe's rather than the Ankerkraut one. Anyways, I'm gonna cut this up. The family's hungry, and we're gonna dig in. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video about the comparison of the Ankerkraut coffee cannonball as well as the Trader Joe's coffee and garlic rub. Now, as I said, I personally found that the Trader Joe's one was a bit more suitable for this dish. However, both of them were equally delicious, and I mean, if the bones look like this afterwards, who can complain, right? So, if you did enjoy this video, I would appreciate a comment and a thumbs up. Please head over to that subscribe button for more great videos to come, and I hope to see you soon again at Toby's Barbecue Corner.